Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the comments video on the, what is it? That's the 18th of February 2025. It's 52 degrees outside in Quartzsite, Arizona, and the weather is gonna be nice. Now, I used to call winds out that were 10 miles per hour or greater. Well, I've moved that up to 15 because 10 and 15, it's really not that much of a bother. And I really don't see anything at 15, over 15 over the next 10 days. So that's really good news. High today is 76, and the highs are going to stay about at that rate for the next 7 days. And then the following week, it'll go up to the way up to the high 80s by the 26th. Then it'll start coming down a little bit, and it's back down into the 70s in the first week of March. So that's the weather outlook. So let's get into your comments. We have the LTVA South e-bike tour with a viewer guest. And Christy Lena says, hey, so that's Cottywomple. Nice to put a face to the name. And Babe is just a darling, beautiful pup. And the positive news video was called A Cat Named George. Not my George, but a George. RV Life says, unbelievable story, thanks. Ken Gray says, great story. And then back to the e-bike tour. The Dan Van, my buddy Dan, who has the Dan Van channel, subscribe to the Dan Van. Awesome ride along. Thanks for the shout out. Great seeing you out and about. Virginia Hankey. It was a joke we all used to say when we were kids. Look at kids look at the title 50 yards to the outhouse. And then you put down will he make it? Like he's really going to make it, and then bet he don't. I wasn't familiar with that, so that's why I was confused. That wasn't something from my childhood. So anyway, just kind of a play on words things that kids used to do. It was in reference to someone's comment that I just didn't understand. Raymond Parsons says, good morning from Ray in Bullhead City, Arizona. Well, good morning, Ray. John Barba, haha, that's an old grammar school joke. The Outhouse by Willie Make It. Willie Make It. The Outhouse by Willie Make It. It's W-I-L-L-E, last name Make It, M-A-K-I-T. So the play, like Yellow, the one that I remember as a kid is Yellow River by I.P. Daly. Forward by authored by Willie Make It and forward by Betty Won't. Debbie Herskro, I really agree with the comment about filters gone when online. I try, not always successful, to use the same rule of waiting and thinking before you post when I purchase on Amazon. Good. That's good financial advice. What I really need today, I usually don't need it in a day or two, so I place it in my basket for a few days, and 80% of the time I go back and delete it. That's really good advice. I might try that, Debbie. Impulse can be dangerous for my checkbook or a good night's sleep. Good. Thank you, Debbie. Good one. Ken Gray, had to look this one up too. A Fiat Pop, and that was in the reference to someone saying, my mother moved and she put the Fiat Pop in the truck. I'm like, what? She put what in the truck? And check this out. Ken says, a Fiat Pop is a 2-seat car, only bigger than the smart car by the storage space in the hatchback. So apparently she had it put inside the moving truck with the other house stuff. Who'd have thunk? Can always count on Ken. Katie Hogue, I worry that you'll have a terribly hard time getting up the steps in your trailer right after surgery. No, I'm not going to have a hard time getting up the steps. I talked to the doctor about it and described exactly what my living situation is. He says it's going to be no more uncomfortable for you after surgery as it is the discomfort that you have now and lack of mobility that you have now. Dee Dee Cornell. Good morning, Mr. Rob, Dottie, and George. Still digging out here in Wisconsin. Wish it was 86. I wish it was 70. Or typo. I think he means like he wishes it was like 70 degrees. Traveling Girl, good morning. I hope to be at Eagle Nest mid-July. Pepper sauce cabins, maybe we can go to lunch. Hey, that's great. I don't know which cabins are pepper sauce cabins, but I'm sure they're right in town there, and that's where I'm living all summer, so look me up. Dee Dee Cornell says that the Fiat Coupe is a car. We got 2 people chiming in to let me know what's up. Thank you. Tamara Lemon, yes, long-term chronic pain does cause cognitive issues. I'm living proof. I lose words, forget what I was talking about, etc. Keep your sense of humor. Getting old is not for wimps. That's for sure. On a positive news video on the cleft palate dog story called No Clue This Was a Thing, Lisa Ross says, what a sweet story. Looks like Lisa was catching up on her positive news videos because she said a cat named George. She says, wonderful story. And Lisa has ghost kitties, 2 cats. Quartzsite Comments. Marissa Hunter. Hey, South Dakota isn't really cold, Rob. It's only -7 right now. Wow. On the e-bike tour, first, I enjoy. Next, my question is, in the desert, when you eat eggs in the morning, are they gritty with the sand? When you turn on your car heater, do you get a mouthful of sand? And he goes on and on. Just jokes. Jokes. He's joking. No one would believe any of that stuff. Montana wife, very interested in this. I'm planning to start making my dog's food soon and appreciate the visual tutorial. Katie Hoke says, she says, I just had an A1C test too, and I came down a whole point to 6.1. That's a big deal. So she went from 7.1 to 6.1. I was happy with that. I'm still working hard on lifestyle changes. I don't use the word diet because the changes need to be permanent. I've been exercising, working on better food choices. I forgot to mention I'm eating all the things I want, but I'm really trying to focus on portion sizes, and it's working slowly but surely. Yeah, that's great, Katie. Thanks for sharing that. Separately, on the subject of medical conditions, and it just as an example, I just blocked someone for making comments on type 2 diabetes, saying authoritative things about like Western medicine and how people are all a victim of this sort of conspiracy stuff. I don't want to hear that kind of stuff on the channel. I do have a little bit of a medical background. Not only being a licensed counselor, I was also a paramedic and did a lot of work in the hospital. I learned a lot. I was very enthusiastic about learning, and it isn't necessarily 100% of the people with type 2 diabetes do it because they're eating wrong or they're eating the wrong foods. There's all sorts of evidence. A lot of people, there's a genetic component to it. It's absolutely true that type 2 diabetes has exploded over the past few decades, and there's a lot of it closely related to American diet and stuff, but trying to shame people into going to medical doctors to treat type 2 diabetes that's not okay. That's not okay. Susan Jack, I've been making my dog's food for a couple of years. Mostly use chicken, green beans for my garden, as I always have more than I can eat, carrots and peas. Never thought of using some kind of supplements. Might look into that. They sure like home cooked meals. So I wasn't doing supplements until very recently, and the reason was a viewer commented that, hey, I talked to my vet. My vet said I need to put supplements in if I do the home cook thing, and I responded, well, I talked to my vet, and she said no, I didn't need to do that. And that's absolutely fact, true. But then I thought about it. I thought, you know what? Why don't I do a little independent research here? So I spent a good bit of time on the internet looking at that. And I really got the sense that supplements had a high potential of helping and a very low potential of causing any harm. So I said, I'm just going to do the supplements. Um, so sometimes you guys say things in the comments and it changes my mind about stuff. That happens fairly frequently. I just searched for you, my recovery from outpatient hip replacement surgery, and found only 3 videos that were not from an MD or professional group. I could send them to if you want, but most seem to be doctors saying what to expect. And I'm like, I said, no thanks. I've got my surgeon telling me exactly what I should expect. I'm having the minimally invasive anterior surgery. Most of the YouTube videos are other methods. And there are some examples. I started watching people recovering from hip surgery, and it just freaks me out. Like, this is, and I realized the worst ones were a different kind of surgery. And I'm just gonna put faith. I really heavily researched my doctor and read every possible review of people that wrote about their hip replacement surgeries with Dr. Henderson. It's Ronald Henderson in Yuma, Arizona. And he got glowing recommendations. It's kind of funny. Well, not funny, but it was surprising to me. I went, and the ratings weren't great. So I started looking at the negative ones, and none of the negative ones were about surgery results. They were all about office procedures and complaints about office staff. None about the quality of the medical care. So I decided there's lots of ways to find out about what to expect after, and they could all be right. My doctor could be all wrong, but I just made the decision to stick with what my doctor told me to expect. Mostly because it's my doctor and I researched him and I chose him, and because it's mostly good. We like hearing good stuff, right? For example, I asked, so how much, physical therapy do you need? Will I need? And it's like, none. You don't need any physical therapy. Wow, no physical therapy. And you're walking right after the surgery. He said you can use cane. You may want to use a walker, outside because I want you to be moving around. So I'll get a cane and I'll get a walker. And I asked specifically about, hey, I've got this little tiny trailer with these, narrow doorway and steps going up. And he said, not a problem. He said, here's the reality is, I can see how you're moving now. I can tell how you feel. And what I can say with a good deal of confidence is that your lack of mobility and pain will probably be less you're gonna trade the pain you have now for post-surgical pain, and it's very likely let me rephrase that. You're going to trade the lack of mobility and pain that you have now for the lack of mobility and pain due to post-surgical lack of mobility and pain. And it's very likely that will be less than what you're experiencing now. I'm like, wow. That was quite the way to look at it, because I was thinking, anything that you look at says, even the best surgery takes 4 to 6 weeks to completely recover, but that doesn't mean it takes 4 to 6 weeks to get to where I am now. Right? That's not what it means. It means 4 to 6 weeks to be completely mobile and pain-free, which I haven't been for over 2 years. That's what that means. Because I've certainly been driving and camping and living with what's going on now for 2 years. So I'm pretty excited about this. I don't know how I got off the comments. What happened? Oh, the A1C thing. Boy, did I get off on a tangent. Texas Lady 7630, I'm going to start barking. That dog foot could look nice. I have 3 dogs. May start making food too. I watched Deborah also making the food. She means Deborah Dickinson. Author Deborah Dickinson, my close friend and mentor and OG nomad and far more advanced YouTuber than me. So check her out if you don't already. Author Deborah Dickinson, or just Deborah Dickinson. You can find her. Let's see. Susan Jack says, I've been making my dog's food for a couple years, mostly use chicken, green beans from my garden, as always have more than can I. Did I already read this one? Yeah, the supplements one. I might have skipped Texas Ladies by accident. Okay. And Ken on the outpatient surgery. Tom Journey's Adventure. Another great video, Rob. Let's see, a cooking video that will be fun to watch. I always like picking up cooking tips. Just got a new to me Yukon, so we'll be able to put a small camper. It's so funny. He asked for a cooking tip, and then that day, I'm putting out a cooking video on Dottie's food. That's pretty funny. Hoss, hey Rob, Dottie, and George, you're a great dad cooking all that good food for your babes. Does George eat it too? No, George has like likes Imes. George is picky. I tried different things with George, and George wants his Imes little kibble things. Does George eat it too? It's so good. I'll be over as soon as I can. I'm sure they'll live longer because of it. I got another question you may have already told us, but here it goes. When you purchase your permit for staying at the LTVA, do you get a sticker for each vehicle? Yes. Like for a motorhome and a towed vehicle, or for your truck and your trailer. Thanks. Yeah, you do. There's one on the truck. There's one on the trailer. Have a great day, and God bless. Remember, I'll be there for supper next year. Okay, Oz. We'll be here. Ken Gray says, first time I noticed the welcome winter visitor sign in the Roadrunner Market. Ken's got 3 comments in a row here. The second one is in setting up for cooking, the tool you didn't know the name is meat and potato masher. Yeah, I didn't know. Snap peas are generally good for dogs. They contain vitamin A, C, and K, and also fiber. So in the video, I've said, oh, I thought these were regular peas. They're snap peas. I'm not going to use them. And then I discovered what Ken did, and I did use them. And I showed you one batch. That 5 pounds of beef makes 3 batches. So I put them in so Dottie will get those snap peas. RV Adventure Travels, for our Boston Terriers, we buy the frozen veggies at Walmart as they tend to be cheaper. We use a peas and carrots mixture, so do I. Butternut squash and sweet potatoes. We use 2 bags of the peas and carrots. We buy our chicken from Costco. It's packaged from the rotisserie chickens that are not sold. That makes it easier for us, so we don't need to cook it. We use a steamer for the veggies. We add a bit of broth in our morning allotment. We add a liquid vitamin supplement, which we buy at Petco or off Amazon. She gets 3 small portions a day. That sounds great. That sounds great. There are a lot of people doing this. And there are a lot of companies making money making this stuff and shipping it to you. And it costs, I don't know how much it costs, but someone tell me. I think it's probably more than the $60 a month I'm paying to make my own. Well, $60 plus the cost of the vegetables. So let's say $70 a month. Good evening. Dee Dee Cornell says, good evening, Rob, Dottie, and George. Enjoyed the ride along. Good quality content. The making of Dottie food. I said that with my next dog or cat that I would make them their own food. Christy Lena, thank you for sharing Dottie's meal prepping. Pup Camper 58, Cheryl. Everybody subscribed to Pup Camper 58 only because it drives her crazy, because she doesn't, I don't think she watches the comment videos because she listens to me in camp commenting all day long on all kinds of stuff. She doesn't need to listen to me outside in camp and then watch me babble on like this on my comment video. But she's like, I don't know what's going on. I got 10 more subscribers today. And it's always because I'm asking you guys to go out and subscribe to her channel. Pup Camper 58. Oh, anyway, she had a comment. Great video, Rob. Dottie is one lucky dog. Donna Aparo. So awesome that you make Dottie's food much more tasty and healthy for her. Kudos to you. On the e-bike tour, Dibs Dibsy Actual, thanks for the tour, Rob. Love your channel. Thank you. Dottie's Dog Food and Shopping, thank you. I really like the drive. And that's Pamela Knoll. And that is all there is that's fit to read. A really good, really nice comments today. I really appreciate that. I can tell the season's definitely winding down because there's less activity, but it's quality activity. I'll things like in the middle of the Quartzsite season, I'm getting 1,000 plus 2,000, 3,000 views on videos, and then by the time summer comes around, I'll be back down to 400 or 500 views on a long form video, so therefore a lot less comments. But it's a nice little break through the summer. Then it'll build back up as I go back to Quartzsite next year for the 25-26 season. Can you believe that? Wow. Time is just flying by, isn't it? I can't think of anything else. Thanks for joining me today. And Dottie and I, right, Dottie? We'll see you tomorrow.